Welcome back, everyone. Oz here, and today I've got some r/OhNoConsequences. As per usual, I'll be reading you the post, giving you my opinions, and I hope you do the same down in the comments below. And without further ado, let's jump right into it. We've got a best of post, breaching containment. This post was collected by Choice Evidence 1983. Their tagline is, of course, it dawned on me that he was a wizard. The original OP is El Ratum, posted to r/Am I the Asshole, May 1st, 2025. Am I the asshole for kicking out my girlfriend's sister and her kids out of my flat after my girlfriend gave her the keys? People around me are saying I'm the asshole, but I need the perspective of uninvolved people. My long-term girlfriend has my apartment keys, as I have hers. Wait, as in, you two don't live together? Only unspoken until now, but always respected rule was, if you need to go to the other place, just send a text. Hey, go into your place. Doesn't matter if the other is home or even responds. Just simply to tell the other you will be at their place. I was supposed to be away 700 kilometers from home for 2 weeks for work-related stuff. But 4 days in, and our instructor got into an accident. Work tried to find another one, but no such luck on very short notice. They decided at like 10 p.m. to get us the first flight home the next day at like 6 a.m., pay us the overtime and the next day at home, then resume our normal work schedule. So I get home the next day at like 9 a.m., sent a text to my girlfriend to tell her that I'm back. Getting to my door, I'm very confused, hearing children screaming inside since none of the people who have my keys have low kids like that. My brother and my girlfriend. I thought I got squatters or something. Opening the door, and I see my girlfriend's sister's kid running around after a shower, putting water everywhere. Plates of half-finished ravioli on my living room floor. Their suitcases opened in the entrance. I get inside and see the husband on my couch trying to hook up my PS2 that he must have dug out of my storage room. Getting into a verbal argument with him, trying to understand why the fuck they're here. Said my girlfriend told them they could get my flat for 2 weeks while I was gone. They wanted to visit the city for a bit, go to the beach. My girlfriend sent me a text while I was arguing, telling me, "Oh, okay. By the way, my sis's fam is at your flat." I admit I blew up on him and the sis who left my bedroom in the meantime. Told them to leave immediately. They argued quite a bit. My girlfriend called her sis. Then sis put the speaker so we could all hear. And she said I was embarrassing her, that she told them they could use my place for a while. I threatened to call the police, also asked my brothers to come. They left while cursing me to their children, telling that holidays are over because the mean little sister's boyfriend kissed us out. I have now all of my girlfriend's family on my back, and even some of my own family saying I could have stayed with my girlfriend so the kids could have some vacation. Also, they read my doctor's prescription papers. I put them in a specific order and it was not the same. And obviously, took some of my prescribed meds. Opened a box of benzodiazepine. Am I the asshole for making them leave? We pretty much stopped talking about anything else with my girlfriend. I feel like I'm being gaslit. I would never invite people to her apartment like that, especially without telling her. It seems so disrespectful. Am I going insane? Am I the asshole has no consensus bot, but OP was voted not the asshole. Relevant comments. Commenter 1. The proper way to do it was girlfriend to stay at your flat and let them move into hers. That way she takes the brunt of the invasion of privacy and damage, but definitely she kept it from you and planned their trip to coincide with yours. This was intentional and you're not the asshole. She and her family owe you a huge apology before you get over this. Do not let them walk all over you. This is the hill to die on. OP responds, I live in a 2-bedroom flat, her place is in a 1-bedroom. Guessing that's why she didn't do that. Only a guess since I have not managed to get them to calmly explain what happened, instead of the absolute chaos that is unfolding in the past few days on WhatsApp. Commenter 2, not the asshole. Report them for the stolen medications to the police and to whoever looks after children there. You don't know if they took the meds, sold them, or if the kids took them. Also, report anything else stolen and send a letter before action for the cleaning bill and costs to replace anything stolen or broken and the cost of new keys. Commenter 3 responds to Commenter 2, breaking in here, apologies, to encourage OP to report your stolen benzos. I'm a retired psych nurse. If I had a dime for every patient that came back days after being discharged with a month's supply of benzos, Ativan, Xanax, Librium, etc., saying they were stolen and demanding more, I'd be rich. Trust me, without a police report, you're likely to be shit out of luck until it's time for a refill. Saying meds were stolen automatically makes providers think you're abusing them, whether you are or not. OP responds, I don't know if it's possible. They've taken it as in consumed, not taken the box. I still have the pack/blister pack, not sure of the English name, but it's missing 5 pills. I don't know if it can be taken seriously by the police or if they will care. Commenter 4. This is a major crime and absolutely should be prosecuted. Benzodiazepines are absolutely mandatory for those who need them. There are no more effective meds for rapid disabling of seizure, panic attack, and serotonin syndrome. Running out of supply before the next refill can place someone into discontinuation syndrome, which can and does kill. These parents committed theft to facilitate recreational drug abuse. Benzodiazepines are intoxicating and their careless use leaves caretakers apoplectic should an emergency occur. This is the zenith of reckless endangerment. Benzodiazepines are difficult to obtain even for those who need them. OP responds, I'm lucky to not need it daily/constantly. I usually get 1 box a month and use it as I see fit. 1 or 2 pills on bad nights, and 1 box is more like 1.5 or 2 months when I'm okay. So I don't go and get my refill each month. I'll be fine even without the 5 pills. Commenter 5. You feel like you're being gaslit because you are. You're not the asshole, but why are you still with this woman? OP responds, because this is so different from her usual behavior. She has never shown me that kind of entitlement before. I do believe that our relationship is over after such a breach of trust, but I'm willing to hear her out at least, when they will stop insulting each other, shifting the blame about the house and the stolen meds. I do need to know why she would do something like that. This is so bizarre and an abrupt change of personality. I would believe it if she has hit her head or had some brain issue. I don't know. Update, May 17th, 2025, 6 days later. Thanks for all the messages in the previous post. I've posted mini updates by responding to comments, so I'll resume everything that I wrote and the follow-up. Too long didn't read, we broke up, ex-family is blaming each other for the meds theft, ex-girlfriend's sister apologized for her reaction when I kicked them out, police is utterly useless. After I kicked them out, I received messages from my ex's family and calls from my ex's mom, telling me how terrible I was to do such a thing. I had to set the record straight because my ex admitted to tell her mom that she did not inform me of their planned vacations in my flat. When it got around, they changed tactics and told me repeatedly that, while she shouldn't have done it, I was even worse because I ruined the sister's kid holidays, and that I could have been the bigger person and stayed at my ex's place until they left. 2 to 3 days later, I discovered that someone has read my prescriptions and opened my next box of benzodiazepine and took out 5 pills. I assumed it was the sis and her husband, and they got high on it. I informed my friends first, and it must have been shared immediately with my ex because less than 15 minutes later, I was receiving messages from my ex and her sis telling me that it wasn't them, and I must have opened and used the wrong box by mistake. I didn't. They must have told their parents because they reached out to a common friend of us to know more, and they started to blame sister's husband to be a drug addict, that they always knew he was bad news and all of that. And my ex joined them. Sis and her husband got angry at them, said it must have been my ex. Then my ex blamed her sis. Just shit-slinging all over the carpet. Sis even told her parents about how my ex did weed a few times at parties at university more than 10 years ago. LOL. At least they left me alone while they were blaming each other. Then, after a few days, got a call from the sis who apologized about her reaction when I kicked them out. She seemed truly remorseful, told me that it was my girlfriend that proposed it, and assured them it was all good, that they could use my place without issues. And that she assumed we must have had a couple argument when I decided to rescind my agreement for their stay, just to be petty to my ex and get back at her, and that they got caught in the middle. It's somewhat coherent with what they told me and how they acted at the time, so I'm inclined to believe it. Still, completely deny having anything to do with my meds though. Went to the police, took me all morning to end up telling a cop that very clearly thought I was a liar and an addict trying to get more meds. I wouldn't have said they just stole 5 if I wanted more though. I would have said they took the entire box. He couldn't care less and just wanted to be over with, so completely useless. Her family got wind of my complaint because it threw some fresh shit in the fireplace. and they got into an argument again. Apparently, her family decided that the most recent perpetrator is my ex, and she blocked her mom and her sis. I don't know much more. Also, we broke up in the meantime. I tried to get an explanation for her disrespectful attitude, but I was stonewalled completely. It was always, "How could you do that to me?" Or just ignoring me. When I told her that we were done, she sent me a picture of my stuff at her place in a bag already by her entrance, and she sent a list of stuff she wanted back. No emotion at all, no apologies, just coldness. I guess you never truly know someone. Well, I think I've told most of what happened since then, except that my anxiety is through the roof, and I have to take meds more often now. I wanted to thank all the people who answered. I didn't expect, nor wanted, to be truthful, so much attention. A lot of them were great advices. It will probably be the only update. Only thing left is discovering who truly stole my meds, but police will not do anything, so I'll edit a post or comment if something does happen on that front. Commenter 1. When told her that we were done, she sent me a picture of my stuff at her place in a bag already by her entrance, and she sent a list of stuff she wanted back. Match your energy. After you pick your stuff up, drop her stuff outside your door and send her a picture. Commenter 2. Oof. Good riddance to them all. Commenter 3. Change locks, obviously. The actual nerve is so out of this world. Also, probably don't give your key out until you're married and they actually live with you. She was rotten for that bullcrap. Not the asshole, of course. Be the bigger person, they say. Yeah, let me just be the bigger person and let someone else live in my house. Come on. Not only were they just outright living there, but they were also going through OP's shit. I would actually lose my mind if I came home to find out that someone had given someone else permission to stay in my home while I was off on vacation, and they were going through my stuff. Like, on top of the fact that I'm already having a massive invasion of privacy, but learning that they were actively going through my things and pulling things out to hook up old consoles and whatnot? Like, seriously? God damn, it makes my blood boil secondhand. It also unlocked a really old childhood memory that happened a long time ago that isn't nearly on the same level as this, but I was reminded of it because of the PS2 comment. So once upon a time when I was like maybe 5 or 6 years old and I had an old PlayStation 2 with Ty the Tasmanian Tiger 2 on it. Now, for those of you who don't remember or weren't alive during this time or didn't really play video games, PS2 games required a memory card. There was no on-console memory, and your save files were oftentimes saved onto that memory card. Most games only had a storage solution of 3 saves per game, or per memory card per se. I only had 1 memory card. During the 4th of July, the neighbor's kid, this is the same kid by the way, who used to grab my toys, say that he was taking them home and if I didn't agree that he would tell on me, that I was being selfish. I actually used to give in until he tried doing it with one of my Bow-Rock, which is a Bionicle by the way. And that's when my mom actually, told him off and I realized, oh, this is not a normal thing for a kid to do and I shouldn't actually worry about getting in trouble for not giving another kid my toys. I've told that story previously, but this was that kid. During the 4th of July, he got really scared and asked my mom if he could go inside to play video games because of how scared he was because I don't fucking know. Alright, that part of my childhood memory is completely missing. I didn't know that he was going inside to play video games on my console. And my mom, not really knowing much about video games, didn't really think too much of it. Just, oh yeah, no, he'll just go and do that for a little bit. I went inside maybe an hour or so later and found out that all of my saves had been saved over, and that was a save that I was actively working to 100%. I literally didn't pick that game up until probably almost 15 years later when I 100%ed it on stream. Cross posted from r/am I the asshole. My fiance is furious at me for telling my family to start eating Christmas breakfast without her. Am I the asshole? Every year we have a family Christmas breakfast as part of our celebration, and this year it was organized for 11 a.m. My partner was aware what time it was planned for, but was running almost 2 hours late. I told my family to go ahead and eat, as they had spent the morning preparing and cooking everything, and said I would eat with my partner when she arrived. However, now I'm completely in the doghouse for excluding her from breakfast, and that I'm an asshole for inviting her if they weren't even going to wait. My opinion is that it's unfair to punish everyone for one person's poor time management, but I'm curious if I'm the jerk here or the logical one. I mean, you gave her a set time for what time the breakfast was, and she was 2 hours late. And you chose to decide to wait to eat until she arrived so she would at least have breakfast with someone. And you also chose that your family shouldn't be punished for her poor time management, which is entirely reasonable and entirely okay. Like, if it was maybe 10 or 20 minutes, that's one thing. It's the holidays and there's some wiggle room, but 2 hours is absurd. She was going to be 2 hours late despite knowing the time. The consequences of that are people are going to eat without her. That's just how it is. Cross-posted from r/am I the asshole. Am I the asshole for walking away from a house I have no equity or say in and stiffing my soon-to-be ex? Before we got married, my in-laws sat me down and explained that I was never going to be on any paperwork for the house they helped my fiancé purchase as a wedding gift. They insisted on an ironclad prenup. I got a lawyer and made sure I was protected as well. After we got married, I contributed to the expenses of our household 50-50, mortgage and everything. It was a little more than I paid in rent and utilities, but I figured we were building a future together. I make a decent living as a welder, and I do not own a lot of stuff. I have a truck, a welding lid, a laptop, and some clothes. Before I met my wife, I lived at Airbnbs and all-inclusive resorts. I work 4 weeks on and get 2 weeks off. It didn't make sense to rent a house that could sit empty for a month at a time. I have helped my wife upgrade, renovate, and furnish the house. I'll give a simple example. We bought a very nice sectional. I paid for half up front by giving the money to my wife. She then bought it on her credit card to get the points. After that, it wasn't my problem anymore. I recently found out that she has been seeing her ex when I'm out of town. I do not play that game. I will never compete for a woman, and I do not forgive cheating. So, last time I came home from work, I stayed at an Airbnb. I took the time to see a lawyer and initiate our divorce. When the time off was done, I went back to work. My next break is after the new year, and I'll be going to an all-inclusive. Neither this last time, or from now on, did I or will I be giving her any money. The problem is that she didn't use the money I gave her to pay down the mortgage or her credit card bill. She blew it on other stuff. So now, she's in a bind. My money made her lifestyle possible. By just leaving and not engaging, she's kind of screwed. But there's nothing there for me anymore. We don't even have a dog like I wanted because she would have to care for them while I was away. So all I left behind was a suit I only bought for our wedding, some gym clothes, and my dress shoes. Once again, for the wedding. She, her family, and her friends are all over me to help her during our divorce. I have no obligation to do so though, and after our divorce, even less so. I can literally live out of my suitcase and my backpack. My only living expense beyond housing is long-term parking for my truck. Even my mom seems to think I'm screwing her over and punishing her too harshly. I personally can't believe my mom would take her side, but my parents' divorce was really antagonistic, and their inability to communicate led to both of them being much worse off than if they cooperated and ended things amicably. Am I the asshole? The thing is, every choice she made here was of her own volition. She chose to spend the money that way, putting herself in this bind. She chose to visit her ex. And all you chose to do was not put up with that. And you left. Besides, your name's not even on the house. Your in-laws made sure of that. They created an ironclad prenup, made sure that you were in full understanding that you weren't going to see anything of it, and guess what? She decided to blow the money you were paying her, she decided to cheat on you, and you've decided to walk away because you literally have no strings attached to that relationship. They made sure of it, and, well, look at that. The consequences of that are there. Crazy, huh? This post was grabbed by JSMK. That name might sound familiar as they're also a contributor on r/bestof. This was a post they recovered from r/amIthex and was originally posted to r/marriage. The original title, or what I can recover from it, is I completely ruined my marriage, was spying on my wife. I, 36 male, know I ruined my marriage. I pushed my, 27 female, wife too far and she finally broke. We've had a rough 10 years of marriage. That's basically always been a roller coaster of something I did wrong. I will take the blame of not being best person and not treating her and her daughter as good as I should have. There was never any physical abuse, but my wife says it was a lot of verbal and emotional abuse from me. I'm not gonna try to paint a horrible picture of her. She did stuff wrong too, but I'm talking about my mistakes, not hers. I do look back at some of the stuff I did in the direct past and recent past and wonder what the fuck I was thinking. As a heads up, it says district instead of direct, so I did make a bit of an assumption there. So please let me know if there's a more fitting insertion there. Basically though, the deciding factor for her to leave was the actions of this past year. She emotionally checked out from my treatment of her and started talking to another man. I begged and pleaded with her that I would change, so she decided to stay and give it another try. 3 months later, I didn't change enough or was back to my old ways, so she was talking to the other guy again. Yet again, I begged, and she decided to stay again. During the time that she was talking to the other man, I had put a tracker on her vehicle to see if she was going to his house. I not only did this once, but twice. She found out about the first tracker when I confronted her with the printed map of where she had gone. The second tracker she found out about on her own. But wait, there's more. When she decided to stay the second time, she turned her phone location back on for me, but that wasn't enough. I decided to put a camera in the bedroom to check to see if she was really at home while I was working night shifts. I swear on everything that there was nothing sexual about this, and the camera did not record anything. All of this was so incredibly wrong, and I know it, but I was just always spiraling out of control. She found out about the camera December 3rd. By December 5th, she filed for a protection order. Temporary order was denied, but she told me she didn't want me in the house. I left so I could let her cool down, thinking we would be able to get through this. December 11th, she filed for divorce, and hasn't let me come back to the house other than to get clothes and whatnot since. I don't know what to do. I destroyed her trust and she literally hates me. But at the same time, the times I've talked to her, I can tell she still loves me. Is this just one of those I love you but I can't be with you anymore situations? Also, I basically have nowhere to live now. She is going to do anything to keep me out of our house, and I have no friends or family I can stay with. The only option of a place to stay is my mother, which my mother was one of the issues of my marriage. My therapist even said my mother sounds toxic and being a reason for fights in marriage that he suggests that I don't stay there. Any women here, feel free to comment. Is there any way you would be able to come back from that and fix the marriage? Too long didn't read. I had a tracker on my wife's vehicle 2 different times and a camera in the bedroom to see if she was really at home when I was working night shift. Camera was not for any sort of sexy pleasure. Yes, it's invasion of privacy and illegal, I know. There's no way you can come back from this, dude. Like, you're lucky that the consequences of what you did is just a divorce. I mean, seriously. You placed not just 1, but 2 trackers, and then when your wife decided to comply with your feverish request to track her location by turning on her phone's location, you decided that wasn't good enough and put a camera in the bedroom. Somehow it's even weirder that you keep insisting that it wasn't for sexy purposes. Like, it's already weird and disturbing as hell that you've done that, but adding that little connotation to the end of it just makes people ask more questions. It's like saying, yeah, I bought some pink fuzzy handcuffs, but like, not for sexual reasons. What? What else are you gonna use it for? Because you could have put the camera anywhere else except for the bedroom. Like, you know, at the front door, or in the garage, or in the kitchen, or the living room. Or anywhere where you could have kept tabs on your wife. Not that you should have been, because there's already so much wrong with that on itself, but the added explanation just makes it worse. But yeah, man, you're kind of lucky that the consequences of you tracking your wife and spying on her is just a divorce. Cross-posted from r/am I the asshole? Am I the asshole for letting my chronically late wife miss an event she was looking forward to by not rushing her because I wanted her to face consequences? My wife, 32 female, and I, 31 male, have been together for 5 years. I'm fed up with my wife's chronic lateness to many things. It's really annoying and grates on my nerves. To her, it seems like no big deal because I always manage to rush her by telling her the time of an event 45 minutes earlier. She's never noticed earlier because she's too caught up with herself, constantly taking photos. that's the reason she's always late. She has a decent following on Instagram and is looking to grow as a content creator. I find it really silly how she turns everything we do into a photo session, and at this point, I've stopped agreeing to take her photos altogether. We've had several conversations about this. I've told her that it's mentally exhausting for me to always have to stay on top of making sure we both get ready according to plan. But she never really does anything to address it. This time, I wanted her to experience the consequences of her actions. This month alone, we've been embarrassingly late to 2 events 2 times, and this time was the first time she realized I hadn't been honest about the timing because I used to give her an ETA 40 minutes earlier. A week ago, I told her I wouldn't be doing that anymore, and that I expected her to act like an adult and be more responsible. It was her birthday this weekend, and I got her tickets to an event featuring several performers, including her favorite artists in the first act. This time, as I'd already told her before, I didn't give her the extra 40-minute buffer. I expected her to remember our conversation and store that information in her head to plan accordingly. Instead, she did her whole influencer routine, decorating our room, setting up studio lights, dressing up, and taking photos. The whole time, I knew she was missing out on her favorite artist because she didn't take me seriously. It was so ironic that I didn't even feel like reminding her. I'm done with the mental burden of always rushing and planning. When we arrived, she realized what had happened. She got upset and started crying, asking how I could do this to her on her birthday. She said it seemed like I was liking the rise it got from her and asked why I couldn't set my ego aside for one day. I told her this was on her. I'd already made it clear I wasn't going to rush anymore, and she should have listened the first time and expected me to follow through, unlike her. She said the whole point of the event was to see the performances of those artists, who'd we just missed. She was incredibly upset and kept crying off and on during the event. The ride home was awkward. I was in the downstairs restroom when she texted me saying I wasn't welcome in the bedroom that night. I ignored her message and went in while she was changing. She looked like she wanted to kill me, and I simply told her that her saying I'm not welcome was irrelevant because it's my room too. If she's uncomfortable, she could take the couch. She ended up leaving to visit her mom, and I'm considering whether I was an asshole. So I wandered to look at some of the comments, and there's kind of a bit of a middle ground here. A lot of people are saying, not the asshole, she's an adult, she should be better at managing her own time, which is entirely understandable. There are also some people who follow in the school of thought of, yeah, everyone sucks here. She should be better about being an adult and managing her own time, but some people do just struggle with that, whether it's being neurodivergent or just simply never building those good habits and always struggling with time. And it sucks the moment that you decide to make her learn a lesson was during her birthday. And the fact that perhaps an exception could have been made for something she was extremely excited for, and also pointing to the comment of how the girlfriend mentioned that it seemed that he was trying to get a rise out of her. And some comments have even pointed out that it does seem like that OP just outright resents his wife. For me, though, I'm in a bit of a different boat. I think this might actually be bait. Either this post is bait or this relationship is actively about to fall apart and be done. Because the way this is written, it doesn't feel like this is written about a relationship that has been going on for 5 years. It feels like it's new. He mentions how annoying and it grates on his nerves her being late is. So you've just been dealing with this for 5 years, didn't say anything, and it's only now that you're actively making the choice to put an end to it. After 5 years. And that's just the relationship aspect. Now it's time for the part that I'm actually familiar with. The influencer aspect. I don't like the term influencer. I don't like influencer culture. However, I am familiar with it because technically I am either in this field or adjacent to this field, and I understand what goes into it. And as much as I enjoy dragging lifestyle influencers through the mud, there's something about the way this is written where it feels like it's written by someone who's an outsider looking in who thinks they have an idea of what goes into it. Like, I know that's extremely vague and I can't quite fully explain it. And while, yes, it is 100% possible that she's just a really inept content creator and it's causing these gaps and he's just reporting on them. But To me, it really feels like someone who's purposely trying to describe a content creator in the most aggravating way possible. Which, trust me, isn't difficult to do. But it's this alongside the way he talks about his wife, who he's apparently been in a relationship with for 5 years, and the entire post is just oozing with resentment for his influencer wife. Like, it just feels off to me. Like, either this is bait or this relationship is nearing its end very quickly. Like, this does not feel like it was written about someone who you're married to. Like, this feels far more like you're writing about someone from your work or university that you're upset with or annoyed by. And like, yes, just to make it 100% clear, the behavior of the wife is definitely annoying and definitely needs to be worked on. But I can't help but to raise an eyebrow with the way he talks about his wife and her interests. Don't forget, this is brought to you by GamerSupps. Use code ODDS at checkout. It's basically a caffeine powder that you put in your water, and I actually really like it. I use this on a daily basis. Don't forget that every purchase you make using code ODDS directly supports the channel. And if you want a personal recommendation from me, I would either recommend the Soda Pressing Pear or Dragon Fruit Punch. Those two are currently my favorite flavors. And as a note, once we sell a certain amount of stuff, I get my own flavor and my own cup, and you all know I'm gonna choose some degenerate shit that's gonna make their PR team squirm. My goal is to make them regret partnering with me. So please, use code ODDS at checkout to make my dream come true of making a PR team squirm.